Well, good morning. It's day 38 of our 40-day journey with Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I hope you're doing well today. We only have 2 more days after today with this Bible Gateway devotional, and then we will start in the Psalms, and we're just going to read the Psalms together. We have no book or guide. We're going to walk through the Psalms, not chronologically, but we'll bounce around through the Psalms, and we hope that is a time where you can stay connected and read the Word of God and reflect on it and its impact on our lives. So we'll start that next Monday. We'll start with Psalm 1, and we hope that you join us in that it encourages you and strengthens you. And so we're on day 38 with Dietrich, and as I was thinking about this devotional, I've had a few enemies in life. I look back, not too many recently, but I look back to when I was a freshman in high school, and this one boy who was larger than I was he was a bully. He would go around and he would use a hammer and put a dent in my wood project every so often. And so one day I anticipated his hammer work on my project, and I saw him coming, and so I calculated where the wood box scrap pile was. I calculated his size and my size and his plan, which I knew was coming, and I attacked him. I shoved him into the wood box. Gravity took over, and I won the day. I took a lot of joy in that moment. Didn't do so good with what Jesus calls us to today. A few years later, I saw him in a store, and I was much larger than he was. I put on some weight, and I don't know, I felt superior to him, but I don't know if I was. So another enemy I had in life who abused, who was just an antagonistic man in my life was one of my bosses. He was arrogant. He was manipulative. He loved to cause me trouble, and I think he knew I was a Christian, and he knew I was going back to college to study to be a pastor, and I just think he had it out for me, and so he just caused me all kinds of suffering, emotional suffering, and I didn't like him. Didn't like him at all. I think I might have hated him to some degree. And it turns out that he was stealing from the company, and I stumbled upon his bad decisions with another employee, I should say, and I ratted him out, and he got fired. And I think I took a lot of joy in that. He's just miserable to me. And I wish I could do that over again. I wish I could try again at that one. I often think of him. And so, and we live in a world that says the opposite of what Jesus says here in Luke chapter 6. We live in a world that says, crush your enemies, to fight back, to do exactly what I did in life. I've had other enemies, maybe more recently, and I think I've done better at living out the gospel. But man, it's so hard. I mean, you think about your enemies, whether they're actual people in your life or people that you've framed in your mind who are your enemies. We're just hardwired in our culture and in our flesh, and with our self-interest to attack, to fight, to protect, to not do what Christ calls us to do in the passage today. And so it's really a gospel thing. And so you think about your enemies, you think about the people who make you clench your teeth the people in your life that you want to retaliate against, the people who you want to get fired or shove in the wood box, the people that are ruining your life, or the person. And I'll just say this, for some of us, that's our spouse. And some of us has really, really painful marriages, and our spouse is our enemy, and the only way we see out of it is to fight and to attack and to show no mercy. And so Jesus writes these words. Jesus gives these words. Luke writes them. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you. Man, that's tough. And that's the call of the devotional today, is to do good to our enemies, and to look at the people in our life who we think want to ruin us, and to respond with mercy, with kindness, with blessing, with prayer, with goodness. I was thinking about the gospel and how we, as followers of Christ, recognize that we too once were enemies of God, and that He moved our way through His Son Jesus Christ. He came to us when we were unlovely, when we shook our fist at Him, when we were truly going against Him, and He sent His Son Jesus Christ to bring us back, to give us blessing, to be good to us, to be kind to us. And so that's what motivates us in this gospel movement of doing good to those who want to do bad to us. And so I pray, and I pray that for all of us, as we move through our relationships, and especially those who we think hate us, that we would be the people of God who respond with goodness and kindness, or we turn the other cheek, and when they say give us your coat, that we give them our coat and our shirt too, that we live out this kingdom gospel in radical ways. So hey, I know it's hard. I know it's really hard when you look at the people around you, but we can do this through Christ and the work of His Spirit. Well, go in His grace today. He is good and He is faithful, and love the people around you. God bless. Take care. We'll see you again.